This is my recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 4, Episode 20, Reunion Part 1. So, I'm going to summarize the episode in about 10 seconds. And that's Andy turning to Lisa Vanderpump and saying, "Lisa, why are you so awful?" Ta-da! And that's what the entire episode felt like to me. I'm tired of it. I know a ton of viewers are tired of it. Obviously, if you're a fan of Lisa, you're really sick of just the past 6 or 7 episodes just being about everybody talking about how awful Lisa is. If you're not sick of Lisa, I mean, if you're not a fan of Lisa, you're probably sick of it also. It's just that's all we've seen, and I'm over it, and I've said that every episode. And I just feel like it also questions, people are starting to accuse Andy of being biased and picking Brandi's side. And that's made even worse by the fact that some people asked him about her being on the Watch What Happens Live episode, and he replied, "She's fun, sue me." And I think people felt that that was kind of a flippant remark, and they felt like, as viewers, we see Andy as the face of Bravo. That's true for me. I kind of see him that way. I've actually followed his career for a really long time. A really long time ago when Project Runway was still a relatively new show and was on Bravo and had Magical Elves as the production company, they used to do blogs. And I remember reading the blogs, and Andy Cohen had one, and either he had it on Project Runway or it was like near it, or I found it or something, but I know that's how I found it, was through the Project Runway blogs. And at the time, even back then, he had a ton of fans. I don't think he was doing Real Housewives yet. I don't think he was on TV yet. I think he was just writing as a behind the scenes at Bravo. I don't really remember, and I haven't been able to figure it out. But I remember seeing him then, and I don't hate him. I've never really disliked him. I'm just not a fan. I'm just not one of the people that thinks he's awesome. So, and it's really, really important that hosts or people from the production company seem impartial. So when I was working on my reality show, it's a very, very small crew, so I did a little of everything. I did a little producing, a little executive producing. I was heavily involved in casting. Come on, you need to lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Heavily involved in casting. I worked with talent. I did everything. And I tried my best to always be impartial. And I didn't succeed all the time, but I did the best I could because I knew that the viewers would resent me as the host if I wasn't fair to everyone or if I snubbed people or things like that. So even to this day, even though some of the contestants were really rude to me, I try really hard not to ever speak badly of any of them. So anyway, it opens up with Andy talking to Brandi and Lisa about how hard this must be, and we got to hear about how tough it's been on Brandi, how she barely slept last night, and she's just so worried. And I don't want to hear it. I mean, I feel like this Brandi worked hard for this storyline all season. So yeah, she's taken a huge amount of personal fallout, but when you treat your friends really badly and you act like a jerk on TV, there is some fallout. So there you go. And right before this was filmed, Brandi did that podcast where she said that Kyle told her that Lisa had filed for bankruptcy and lived in Calabasas, and so there's a whole bunch of back and forth about that and how Brandi looked it up online for $9.95, and Lisa, does live in Calabasas. No, she owns property in Calabasas. Big difference. Doesn't mean that she lives there. And then Andy's like, well, what's the big deal if she lives in Calabasas? Come on, Andy. The big deal is that means that Lisa was lying about where she lives. Come on. So, let's just move on to the actual. Come on, I need you to. I'm really sorry about my dog. Come on, lay down. So we start off with the bit about Yolanda feeling like Lisa is a Hollywood friend versus a friend. This is my feeling on it. The first half of the whole season, probably almost 2/3 of the season, Yolanda talked about what a great friend Lisa had been through her sickness, what a great friend she'd been. They're real true friends. Now they've had a falling out since the painting party, and now Yolanda is saying for the past 18 months Lisa's really blown her off. You get one way or the other. You've been saying for months and months and months what a great friend Lisa has been. I believe that. I think this is an example of when you have a fight with someone and you're totally fine, and then you have a fight and all of a sudden it's, you never do this and you always do that. And then when the fight's over, you're like, okay, that's not true. I was really upset. That's kind of how I feel this is. Yolanda's upset, and so now she's judging Lisa more harshly about she could have come over and visited more. But to be fair, Yolanda does leave some space. She says, you know, I have been sick. Maybe I don't remember things correctly. And they seem to have at least come to kind of a civil place. So I was okay with that. Now we have Kim. And the scenes with Kim in general are not the most exciting. But they are very sweet with her daughter and with the fans and all that. I really did like that. And they highlight the scene where she kneels down and prays right up against a trash can. So first off, let me just clarify my position. Anyone at any time has the right to prayer. I have a lot of respect for people, whether it's a religious prayer that they do at certain times of the day, whether it's a prayer of guidance or comfort, whatever it is, people absolutely have that right. And I personally would not make fun of anyone for that. Now, they show quite a few people making comments about it. But of course, Andy asks Lisa. Doesn't ask anybody else. It's all about Lisa. And that's where I'm like, okay, I get it. Now, two things happened with this scene. One is that people didn't understand what Kim was doing. And two, they didn't understand why she was doing it next to a trash can. I think it was just genuine confusion. What's going on? I think most of them, hopefully, if you asked any of them at this point, knowing that Kim was praying and was just taking a second to herself, do you think there was anything weird about it? They probably mostly would say no, with the exception of the fact that where she did it was a little weird. I mean, I'll admit that. Doesn't mean that she shouldn't have done it. It just was unusual. And that's why I kind of feel like, Andy, come on, ask anyone else. Her sister, Yolanda, anyone, Brandi, ask anyone. Like, why is this all about Lisa? If you don't like Lisa, that has to be annoying. If you like Lisa, that has to be annoying. Like, let's just move on. They also discuss when Kim hosted the self-defense class and Brandi was mad at Kyle. And Kim was like, okay, can we just not talk about this here? And then Yolanda was like, you can't tell me what to do. And that whole deal. And I think they both held to their guns, but they also kind of acknowledged how the other person felt, and we moved on. Excuse me. Next up is when Brandi made the comment to Joyce in Palm Springs about how, oh, you're not getting in the pool because you're black. First off, not an appropriate comment. I'm not a fan ever of trying to make stereotypes about gender, race, religion, anything like that, and laying those rules on someone else. I just don't find them that funny. I don't even find that funny if someone who was black made that joke about themselves. I'd be kind of like, oh, huh, I get it. Okay. I'm just not into it. That's my personal thing. I don't have any, I'm not going to make a big moral deal out of it, whatever. That's just me. That's just my thing. And Brandi gave kind of a half-hearted apology. She basically said that everybody else gets to make jokes but Brandi. Well, that's just kind of right. I mean, public opinion, a pretty white girl is not going to be able to make jokes about another ethnicity, and people aren't going to find it quite as funny. That's just my opinion. It was a half-hearted apology, but whatever. So we move on. And then they mentioned the kiss kind of between Carlton and Brandon. Carlton and Brandi. There's a little friendship kiss and all that. And then we really got into it. My notes kind of just stopped because I was kind of over it. I wrote like meh for the rest of the reunion. I know there was a bit in there where Andy really worked Lisa over about whether or not she can take a joke. Maybe if they had done the reunion differently and we had started out with the issue between sisters and something else, Kyle and Brandi making up, or Carlton's, I just really felt like I'm at the end of my rope with the Lisa focus of the show, and so to open up the reunion with that just felt like beating a dead horse, the straw that broke the camel's back, however you want to think of it. And I'm finding it harder and harder for me to get excited about the show or even care. So anyway, I have heard, though, that the next two parts of the reunion, we move on from Lisa, and so I hope that's the case. If you feel very differently than me, please hit me up in the comments and try to encourage me. This show is going to make an amazing recovery.